Coming up, how chemicals on the carpet can help catch a phone thief.
Disaster in the flower garden. How did it happen? And who's to blame?
Busting a neighbourhood burglary by unravelling a crumpled clue.
And catastrophe in the kitchen. How will our clever detectives catch the culprit?
Wow, that looks like a pretty messy crime scene.
Sure does, but it's not nearly as big a mess as Brad and Ellie are in. They've stumbled across a series of burglaries and their troubles have only just begun.
There have been lots of robberies in our neighbourhood lately. And Ellie and I are trying to help catch the crooks. So we've decided to stake out our street. We're on the lookout for any strangers. Come on, Ellie. Ah, there's something suspicious. See the lady by the van? Hide or she'll see us. Look, she's making notes. I wonder if she's writing down which houses are empty. And look, that woman's back again. She's been patrolling our street for the last couple of days. That's gotta be suspicious. Come on, let's see who else we can suss out. Whoa, look at those two. They're definitely dodgy. What's he holding? Quick, duck. He's showing the other man. Phew, that was close. Hey, did you see that? Come on, Ellie. Let's see what they were looking at. If they're the burglars, it might be a clue.
Ancient Egyptian tombs were equipped with burglar alarms. Traps included falling rocks, hidden holes and poisonous powders. But tomb robbers still tried to steal gold buried in the graves.
Oh no, the paper's sopping wet. We'll never be able to read it. Actually, I've had an idea. Come on. We'll try and dry it with this hairdryer. That should do it. Now carefully try and pick it open. Uh-oh, it's rock hard. If we pull too much, it'll tear. Let's think. How does Mum soften fabrics when they're all scrunched up? I know. She uses glycerine. Hopefully it will do the same job on paper. All we do is put a few drops in a jar, then add some water. Drop it in, Ellie. And we'll leave it to get a good soaking. Its secrets will soon be revealed.
Real forensic investigators have lots of tricks for restoring damaged clues. Sometimes it's as simple as putting torn up evidence back together. But criminals can be very tricky. This paper has been deliberately bleached to hide some writing. It looks blank, right? But when different coloured lights are shone on it, tiny bits of ink that were left on the paper become visible, revealing a vital written clue a criminal was hoping to hide. How clever was that? It must be so much fun restoring documents and finding out what's written on them.
Well, I'm sure glad my teachers didn't know all those tricks.
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes if my homework was too difficult, I'd rip out some random page, crumple it up.
No, you didn't.
Yep. And worse still, I'd say my dog ate my homework, and I had the mangled up piece of paper to prove it, and I even put a few, like, bite marks in it.
Oh, Shay, that's terrible. That's a crime.
I know, and I feel so guilty because my teachers never found out, and I never actually even had a dog anyway.
Oh, it's just as well you didn't have Brad and Ellie on your case, hey? Hey, let's get back to the crime scene and find out what they're going to do with their crumpled up paper.
Ellie and I are trying to find out who's been robbing houses in our street. Two suspicious characters dropped something in a puddle, and we're about to find out what it was. Now, let's carefully pull it apart. Yeah, it's not brittle anymore. The glycerine worked. Wow! It looks like this is a map of our street. And look here. There's a red cross marking our house. I think we're next on the robbers' hit list. This map has clinched it. So the woman in red was probably only doing door-to-door sales. And the lady in the van must have been doing a survey or something. Nope, our robbers are definitely those men in black.
Great work, Brad and Ellie. Forensic scientists use substances like glycerine to help them recover evidence when it's been damaged or destroyed. Glycerine is a non-toxic, colourless, sweet-tasting liquid that dissolves in water. It's perfect for helping unravel mangled evidence, like burglars' maps.
We've called Constable Coleman, and he's seriously impressed with our detective work. He says our map is the breakthrough he's been looking for. I think we're about to win this year's Neighbourhood Crime Busters Award.
Well, I really hope Brad and Ellie do get that award.
Yep, and I think Pnina and India-Blue deserve a medal for taking on this case, the mystery of the melted ice cream.
I know, Benji. It's dinner time. We're getting your food now. Holy moly! What's this? Someone sneaked some ice cream and left a telltale mess behind. Come on, we'll get to the bottom of this. First, did it come from our freezer? Yep, one scoop missing. So it's either Luke, Mum, or Emma. They're the only ones who've been in the house. But how do we work out which one? I know. We need to work out exactly when it happened. And I know just how to do it. Come on. Careful, don't tread in it. We're going to calculate how long it takes for that ice cream to melt. This line will tell us how far it's spread now. Note the time. 4:44 and 43 seconds. Now we'll get another scoop. Grab the sponge and get rid of the first blob. I'll put the new scoop here. You get the stopwatch and start timing. Soon we'll know exactly when the ice cream landed.
Ancient Chinese made ice cream 3,000 years ago. They sprinkled salt over snow, then poured on sweet syrup. Salt made the snow extra cold, so the syrup froze into ice cream.
Our second blob of ice cream has almost reached the chalk outline. Okay, now stop. Okay, that took 8 minutes 33 seconds. Right. So the crime was committed 8 minutes and 33 seconds before the time on the clock, which was 4:44 and 43 seconds. Bless you. Minus 8 minutes and 33 seconds. Bless you. And we get 4:36 and 10 seconds. That was the precise moment the crime was committed. That's the when. Now, the whereabouts of our suspects at that time. Emma, Mum, and Luke. Time to interrogate them. Let's go.
Oh, whoa, this is my favourite kind of mystery because I love any sort of ice cream.
Steve, have you stopped to think that perhaps you might be eating vital crime scene evidence there?
No, I hadn't actually. What should I do?
You're probably going to have to hand that over to me, hey?
Oh, all right. What are you doing? You said there was a crime?
I just stole your ice cream.
Oh, I think that's a clear-cut case of fraud and deception, Shay. I think I need Pnina and India-Blue on this case.
At just after 4:36 today, a person unknown dropped a scoop of ice cream on the kitchen floor and they fled the scene, leaving their dastardly mess behind. So, all our suspects were home at the time. Luke was practicing piano, but he could have dashed into the kitchen. Mum was having her usual afternoon nap. Then there's Emma, who's now out at soccer training. OK, you ask Mum what she knows about Luke's movements, and I'll quiz Luke about Mum. Luke swears Mum was in her room. He would have seen her if she came out. And India-Blue reports that Luke's piano playing kept Mum awake. So Luke and Mum have rock-solid alibis. So they're off the suspect list. Which only leaves Emma. Aha! She's back. India-Blue, you distract her while I check her diary. Well, what do you know? Soccer practice started at 4:40. That's 4 minutes walk away. Which places Emma here at the crime scene at 4:36. Exactly when the crime was committed. Emma, you're busted.
Spot on, Pnina. Pinpointing the exact time of a crime is often the key to working out who did it. That way, Pnina was able to figure out that Emma helped herself to some ice cream while on her way to soccer practice.
The messy mystery is solved. Oh my gosh, we forgot to feed Benji. Too late. Looks like he's decided to help himself to dinner. Or should I say dessert?
Someone stole Dad's mobile phone at this conference centre yesterday. So Zoe and I have returned to find the culprit. And we're going to start right here in the conference room at the very table where Dad sat. We've brought everything we need to solve the case. Magnifying glasses, gloves, evidence bags, and crime tape. Now our prime suspects have to be people who sat right here at this table. We know there was grumpy old Professor Blunt, Dad's shifty business partner Mrs. Sharp, and Craig, the crazy computer expert. To find which one of them was a mobile phone thief, we'll cordon off the crime scene and start searching for clues.
The world's first mobile phone was made in 1983. Often called a brick, the phone weighed 1 kilogram. It only allowed half an hour of talk time before the battery needed recharging.
Whoa! A dusty footprint. Made with mysterious white powder. I'll just get my trusty teaspoon and we'll take a sample. Because I have a hunch I know what this powder is. The carpets here were cleaned with baking soda just before the conference. But first, we need to prove that that's what it is. Okay, time for some chemical testing. Safety glasses on. First, a slurp of vinegar in the test tube. And now for some of that mystery powder. Aha! Bubbles! Just as I thought. The mystery powder is baking soda. Because when it mixes with vinegar, it releases bubbles of carbon dioxide gas. So, our culprit must have walked through the baking soda and trailed it right here to the crime scene, where they stole Dad's phone. But whose footprint is it? It's way too big to be a woman's. So I guess we can cross Mrs. Sharp off the list. That leaves Grumpy Professor Blunt and Crazy Craig, the computer expert. If we can find a trace of baking soda where those two hang out, this case is solved. Let's start at Professor Blunt's office. Aha! White powder on the rug. Quick! Bag a sample. If we can prove this is baking soda, he's our culprit. But first, let's see if Crazy Craig's left any traces. He always hangs out here in the courtyard. Hang on. More white powder. This is very confusing. If this is baking soda too, we're back to square one. We better get back to the lab quick smart.
Lots of mysterious powders are used by criminals. But now there's an extra clever gadget to work out what powder is what. You take a very special CD like this one, you put a drop of water here in the middle, then you sprinkle your mystery powder on top. The CD case is closed and popped into an oven for 15 minutes. You put the CD into a computer and it works out what sort of powder it is.
How brilliant is that? Hey, we should do our own powder analysis. What do you reckon?
I reckon that's a good idea.
Pop on your safety goggles, Steve, and let's make carbon dioxide bubbles.
Okay, now you put a few drops of ordinary household vinegar into a test tube like that.
That's our acid, right?
That's correct. But it's not a very strong acid, so it's pretty safe.
Okay, now I'll add a sprinkle of bicarb soda. So this stuff is artificially made, but you can find the real deal in certain natural springs. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Woo!
Oh, look at that. Those bubbles are awesome. See, the acid and the alkaline really do make carbon dioxide.
Yep, it's the perfect formula for making things fizzy.
And the perfect formula for solving a major crime. Let's head back to Charlotte and Zoe's crime lab, shall we?
Dad's mobile phone has been stolen at the conference centre. And Zoe and I have two suspects in our sights. Professor Blunt and Crazy Craig, the computer expert. Our mission? To see if the two samples of white powder match the baking soda we found at the crime scene. Our method? The famous vinegar bubble test. But this time, over Crazy Craig's sample, we've put a green balloon. And over Professor Blunt's, a red balloon. That'll let us compare their bubbliness. Look! Craig's balloon is still floppy. No bubbles whatsoever. But Professor Blunt's is bubbling like mad, inflating the red balloon. So his sample is the baking soda. Same as the footprint at the crime scene. So the guilty phone stealer is Professor Blunt.
Wow, that is totally impressive crime solving, girls. Chemical testing of powdery residue left at crime scenes is very important. If forensic scientists can match the powder to a suspect, they've got their criminal. Just as Charlotte and Zoe, links the baking soda at the crime scene to the powder outside Professor Blunt's office.
Hey Zoe, I think we've just invented the world's first rocket-powered crime-fighting tool.
Nice work, girls. That's one missing phone mystery solved. I hope Charlotte's dad gets it back from Professor Blunt real soon.
Yeah, me too. But now, Jed's about to get a phone call with some very bad news.
That was our cranky neighbour, Mr. Beluga. He's accused poor little Tinkerbell here of ruining his precious flower garden. He says we should keep her locked up, but there's no way she'd be able to trash anyone's garden. It's more likely to be Harry, that pesky mutt next door. He loves digging holes. Or Mrs. Beluga. She's always messing about in the garden. We need to clear Tinkerbell's name. Come on, let's check out the crime scene. Whoa, I see what Mr. Beluga's cranky about. Looks like the work of a dog to me. No, I just remembered. Harry's got a hurt paw. And he's been confined to his basket. So it can't be him. Maybe these flowers will help us solve the mystery. See all this pollen? It might be just what we need to clear Tinkerbell's name. Wait there. Stick the marigolds in the evidence bag. We'll compare it with anything we find on Tinkerbell. Back inside.
Bees pick up pollen from flowering plants with their feet. The pollen is carried to other plants so they can reproduce. 1/3 of all the plants we eat have been pollinated by bees.
No way she's guilty. But hey, come on, Tinkerbell. You're gonna provide vital evidence. We're gonna brush your coat and see if there's anything on it. Oh dear, bits of marigold. Looks like she might have been in Mr. Beluga's flower bed. Maybe she's not as innocent as she looks. I think we need a closer inspection. You stay there, Tinkerbell, while Otto and I head to the kitchen. The crime lab.
Whoa, imagine all the pollen grains there are on these sunflowers.
Oh, let's have a count, shall we? 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, there's too many to count, that's for sure.
Steve, you can't count them. You can't even see them. They're microscopic. Some plants release hundreds of thousands of little pollen, and if you brush your finger across, you can see a fine line of yellow powder, and that's the pollen.
Oh, how cool is that? And is that what sticks to bees' feet as they go from flower to flower?
Yep, that's right. But you know what? I think I'm probably going to get the sneezes because of all this.
Okay, I think we better get back to Jed and Otto's garden before we have an explosion here.
Our grumpy neighbour, Mr. Beluga's flower garden has been ruined, and the remaining suspects are Mrs. Beluga or our cute little Tinkerbell. This is what we hope will clear Tinkerbell's name. Clumps of pollen that we combed out of her fur. Let's see what this stuff looks like under a microscope. Aha! Little round clumps. Now let's look at the pollen from Mr. Beluga's marigolds. Longer and spikier. Nothing like the clumps of pollen we found on Tinkerbell's coat. Yay! She's in the clear. So the culprit must have been Mrs. Beluga.
You're exactly right, Jed and Otto. Mrs. Beluga decided she'd had enough of her husband's marigolds and was making way for a new bed of colourful pansies. But clever pollen analysis had already cleared Tinkerbell's name. Forensic detectives do exactly the same thing with pollen found at real crime scenes. If it's attached to a suspect's clothing, it can place them at the scene. Or if not, pollen can help prove they're not guilty, just like Tinkerbell.
That was Mr. Beluga again. He just called to apologise. He said it was his wife's fault after all. I wonder if he's going to keep her locked up from now on.
Oh, poor old Mr. Beluga. He got it very wrong that time, didn't he?
Yep, but our clever detectives were spot on thanks to their pollen analysis.
Amazing. And we'll be back solving more crimes next time.
Oh, thanks, Steve. Bye.